What's up, everyone? Welcome to Silver City Reef. My name's Andrew. Today's video is going to be a little different from the usual reefing videos. I did a poll on my Instagram and it seems like you guys want to know how reefing turned my life around from the downward spiral that it was on. So if you see me looking over here, I had to make notes so I don't forget anything, but still keep the video short and get the point across. Growing up, my dad always had a saltwater aquarium at his house. Whenever me and my sisters would go visit, that's where you would find me, usually sitting right in front of it. I was a little young, so I couldn't do much, but I would occasionally feed the fish or clean the glass. He had one of those magnetic cleaners that we all love. As soon as I was old enough to get my own aquarium, I believe I started with a 10-gallon. Again, it was fresh water, but I quickly upgraded that to a 20-gallon. The 20-gallon I remember pretty well. I used to always keep black mollies, Dalmatian mollies, some tetras, not too many, plecos, which got pretty big, and usually like the red tail sharks. I did go on a kick where I was trying to buy pairs, male and female, of the mollies, or buying pregnant mollies already that were at Petco and trying to breed them to get the babies, but unfortunately I didn't really have any income, so I couldn't get the necessary equipment I needed to breed them correctly. They either got eaten, sucked up in the filter. I had like a net that sat inside of the tank. I don't know if they got through the holes in the netting or what happened, but I had a bunch and then I had none. Doesn't help when you have to go to school all day instead of keep an eye on it. But it is what it is. So as I got older, I ended up having my little sister take care of my tank for me, because I was too busy getting in trouble. I would skip school. Cops would show up at my house for different things. I was getting suspended from school. You name it, what most teenage kids are doing. Smoking, drinking, partying, whichever. When I got my driver's license, that was like the key to my freedom, letting the monster out of the cage, so to speak. I had been selling pot since I was a freshman, but I had my license, so it was easier now. Partying, staying out all night, whichever. I could do whatever I wanted because it didn't matter. I would get kicked out of my mother's house. Again, didn't matter. I had a car. I could sleep in that, and I was happy with that. But it didn't really take me where I wanted it to go. A friend of mine I had back then introduced me to pills and opiates. He gave me a Percocet one day, and the next day I was sniffing heroin. That same week, I was introduced to the dealer, who actually needed somebody to drive him around. So I volunteered, and the job paid well, $100 a day, plus gas, food, and cigarettes. It's pretty much all I needed. $700 a week. I was working every day. Wasn't bad. I enjoyed my job. So I guess you could call it a job. I don't know. But You know, my girlfriend at the time, who was actually now my fiance after an 8-year break, she got everything she wanted. New phones, you know, anything she wanted. She wanted to go out to eat, we went out to eat. She wanted to stay in a hotel, we stayed in a hotel. She wanted to party, we partied. It didn't matter. With most drugs, you can imagine, you build up a tolerance, and you start needing more and more to feel normal or to feel high. So it got to the point where I was working just to support my habit. At this point, me and the girlfriend had already split up, and I don't know, partying and getting fucked up, that's what I knew. So that's what I did. I showed up one morning to my dealer's house, and the house was trashed. So I left. Found out later that he was raided and charged with possession and distribution of a controlled substance. It was bound to happen. But again, this was kind of like a blessing in disguise, I guess I would say. He was actually working on getting clean. He wanted to save more money. We did the math out one night when we were all fucked up, and yeah, he was losing out on quite a bit, like thousands a week, like 10 grand a week, I think. We did the math out. So he was trying to get clean, I was trying to get clean. So when he went to jail, I did what I planned on doing. I got clean. I was clean for like 5 or 6 months, and ended up meeting up with an old friend of mine, and he convinced me to get back into it, except this time, instead of snorting, I was shooting up. So for the next 5 years or so, that was my life. I was pretty much just a hardcore addict. Let's just say I did a lot of things that I am not real proud of. But, I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of part of living that lifestyle. I was bouncing from place to place. I didn't have anywhere to live. I was just sleeping with random girls. Didn't really matter. I ended up in detox 15 times in that last year. Finally, I was given a free stay at a detox/rehab. It was a 60-day stay they gave me. It wasn't supposed to be free, but my insurance wouldn't cover it. And the 5-day detox, or spin dry, as most people call it, doesn't work. I got out after the 60 days. I got a job. I got a car. I got a place to live. I had everything going well. You know, everything was running smoothly. I ended up running into a girl that I knew in high school, and long story short, she was into pills, and I ended up getting back into pills. It did not take long for that to pretty much cause my life to spiral back down. I lost that good job. I went back to selling pills because, again, that's what I know. From when I was younger, I was selling pot, and then I was selling pills, then I was selling heroin, then I was selling pills. I just know being a dealer. But Unfortunately, that's just is what it is. So 9 months, then I slipped, and I was selling pills again. Within a month of selling pills, I had $7,000 saved up, but a 20 pill a day habit, which, if you don't know, one perk 30 is about $30. Dealer price is about $25, so you can do the math. It's about $500 a day I was blowing on pills. I ended up losing my supplier after that first month, and the other ones I had, they just weren't reliable, so I kind of just worked my way out of that. Again, you know, that lifestyle brings that lifestyle. I don't know how else to say it, you know, the girls, the drugs, the parties, you know. Anyways, I ended up staying in contact with one of the guys I used to sell the pills to. He was a good friend. I only know him from him being a customer, but we used to actually hang out. It wasn't just a transaction. We blew through that $7,000 within a month or two. Anyways, we were fucked up one night, and he ended up telling me about how he used to have a reef tank, and he was showing me pictures, telling me all about it, teaching me the basics, and I was interested. You know, he said he actually made some money doing it too, so that was good, you know. Need to make money. But it was more just, you know, we needed something to put our time and energy into, something to take our mind off the shit we were getting ourselves into. On Halloween of 2014, we were both withdrawing. It was a week of not moving. I remember it quite well. We had stocked up on medication and just did what we had to do. We made the plan that we were going to set up reef tanks, and this was the first step. After that first week, we got started. He set up his tank first, and then we started working on mine. So we started working on mine. He had given me an old 40 breeder that he had hanging around. We built some crappy basic stand, just enough to hold the weight, and that we could put a sump underneath. Pretty much set me up with everything I need. There's a metal halide light, a basic LED strip, like a Rio 1200 return pump, some Maxi Jet power head, a heater, some live rock, and I was using a plastic tote as a sump. I brought it all home, set it all up, and I want to say I spent the first night just staring at the tank. I had to go get live sand, get the final few things. So that took me about a week. Like I said, money was tight, blew through that $7,000. Wish I hadn't, because it would have been a great way to invest it, but yeah. So by the time I had gotten everything ready, his tank was up and running. He had a few frags in there. Unfortunately, I don't remember what all the frags were. The one I do remember was the bubblegum Millie, which I don't know where I can get some right now, but I'm going to put some in this tank. That is the one coral that I know is going in here. So I was just waiting on, I needed a ballast for the metal halide. I had the fixture itself, the bulb and everything, I just needed a ballast. But what happened was he had separated from his wife and she wanted the house back. She had his kids, so it just made sense for them to have the house and for him to move. And at that same time, I actually had to move. So after, a month and a half, 2 months of trying to get this tank set up, I had to break it all down, and he had to break his all down. I don't know what he ended up doing with his. Mine I ended up transporting to a family friend's house, and I had filled it back up with water. I just needed to get new sand, but I never got around to doing it. My life got really hectic. I was working. I had gotten back with my girlfriend, the one that I was with when I was 17. And yeah, I just got busy. So it's been a little over 4 years since then. I am still clean. I have a job. I have a truck, a trailer, a whole business worth of tools and equipment because I have my own business that I do on the side. I have an apartment, and now, as you can see, I have my aquarium set up finally. On the 4th of July of 2018, I was getting ready to go with my fiance to see her father, and we got to her dad's house, and we got halfway there and I started feeling sick. When we got to his house, I was like really, really, really sick, like really sick, to the point where I asked her if we could leave, and we went to the hospital. They pumped me full of fluids. They couldn't find anything wrong. I started to feel better within a couple of hours. So I was like, listen, let's just go home. We went home. And I made an appointment with my regular primary care doctor. To this day, they still haven't found anything. Nobody can give me any answers. I still get sick just about every day. A lot of things are getting worse rather than better. I'm getting new symptoms. I don't know. But so after a month of being sick, I ended up shutting down my business temporarily and putting that all on hold. And at this point, I was feeling pretty low. I was depressed. I was broke. Me and my fiance were fighting all the time, and I was sick. As you can imagine, that'll take its toll on you. So I don't know exactly how I came across something reefing related, but it grabbed my attention and I started just researching. And I remembered that I had this old 40 breeder sitting at my friend's house. And yeah, I don't know. So I kept researching, and I decided I could do it, that I was going to set up a tank, and that was that. So I spent a month just researching and studying and, comparing different equipment, kind of coming up with a plan. I then picked up the 40 breeder from his house and all the equipment, which most of that was junk now, because not only did he leave the tank filled with water, but then his basement flooded. Everything was just, it was gross. The only thing I kept out of that was the tank itself, because it was already drilled and I didn't want to spend the money to get a new one, which honestly now I'm probably going to end up replacing it just because it is kind of old, and I like to do it a little bit differently. So yeah, I started planning it out. I drew up blueprints for the stand and started working on that. I was picking up different equipment. I grabbed, my first purchase I think was the RODI, and then I picked up one of the Hydra 26s and the Eheim return pump, which was used. I kind of regret that purchase, but it saved me a few bucks. And over the course of these 2 months, I forgot everything was falling apart. I ended up selling a couple of my high-end vape mods to pay for all the equipment. I got a job with a friend of mine who was starting a retail store. I help him out, unload trucks, whatever he needs. It doesn't pay much, it's kind of like a favor, but it covers my bills and it gets me a little something for this every month. It's not where I want to be, but that's okay. I could spend hours sitting here just staring at it, or screwing with something, putting something on, taking something off, reorganizing. This makes me happy. So finally, on December 22nd of 2018, I had all the equipment in here. I bought everything that I needed, the last components mostly, during the Black Friday sale from BRS. I did have to make a couple extra orders after that for some of the plumbing and other pieces that I wasn't planning on needing but ended up needing. This tank is now cycled. I have the quarantine up and running. I just need to get fish, and I need to put some Kato in here and get the nitrates down, because I'm hoping, I want to see if I can do it with just the Kato, because I really don't want to do water changes unless I have to. I was planning on getting a doser because I know I'm probably going to need that. We'll see. If I have to do water changes, I'll do water changes. At this point, it doesn't matter. So, since the start of this tank, as you can probably tell by my videos, I'm in a much better place. I'm still physically sick every day, and like I said, symptoms are just getting worse, or there's becoming more of them. But I don't know, I don't feel like giving up, so I guess that's all that matters, right? I switched doctors. I have an appointment next week. Hopefully I'll get some answers on that if you're curious, but we shall see. As much as I would love to make money from this hobby and doing this. That's not why I started this, and it's not why I make these videos. I make these videos because I hope that I can just get one person, just one, to find reefing. And who knows, maybe it'll save them too. I mean, this hobby got me through 3 pretty major events. My dad's freshwater tank and my freshwater tank got me through my parents' divorce. It got me, or the setup of this 40 breeder originally got me through my drug addiction. And this time, it's gotten me through, you know, feeling like I want to give up because I am physically ill. I wish I had a explanation or a term or some kind of condition to explain it, but I don't. If I do figure it out, I will let you guys know in another video. I guess we'll see what the doctor says next week. I did want to make a note on the fact that it's not only the hobby that is amazing and, you know, boosts your morale, but it's the community that comes with the hobby. You know, there's so many reefers that will go out of their way to help somebody who doesn't know anything, or to try to help somebody who's failing, and they're not rude about it. They don't want nothing in return. They do it because they want to help. They want to see other people succeed, you know? I don't know, it's just different. It's not like any other community I've ever seen. And I've tried a lot of hobbies. Like I said, I've collected high-end vapes, and that's a great community as well, but it's not like this one. I will say that. Okay, as for my friend that got me into the hobby, the saltwater hobby, I reached out to him when I picked up the 40 breeder from my other friend's house, and he said he had planned on setting up his tank again soon too. I sent him a picture the other day though, once I got both the hydras mounted, and he said he needed to set it up like now. I think he likes my setup, so hopefully he will be back in the hobby soon, and it'll be good. It'd be nice to share some coral with him and get some knowledge from him, or I don't know, he's been out the hobby for a little while, so I know there's some things he needs to know about, you know, the new LED lighting and whatnot. So alright, but anyways, that's all for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my story. Maybe you can relate to my story and you understand where I'm coming from. If you can relate, or you just want to tell me how you got into the hobby, I would love to hear it. So just drop it in the comments below. I had planned on doing a video on how I set up my quarantine today, but like I said, the Instagram poll, more people wanted to see this, so I I will still put out that video. I might be able to get it done tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to get to it today. I think I'm going to spend some time with my fiance. It's my day off. Yesterday was technically my day off, but I ended up having to work. So, but yeah, if you want to check out the quarantine video or any of my new videos, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you get notified when I upload. I really appreciate all the support I've gotten between, I know I don't have much on YouTube, but Instagram as well. I do really appreciate it. It helps take my mind off things, you know? So, anyways, I just want to thank you guys for watching.